society was patient, but now we take it anytime we want in this game. My situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop in the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup. I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. Swallow the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete chord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true saviors a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is ragu and my truck is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With possible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach you. Let's go, baby. DQ, baby.
Voice from the past.
Social enough, Dr. James Small, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
one of our great leaders, great teachers. Check. Look. He's a voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, stay connecting the roots. Pan African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. He's the voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, we stay connecting the roots. Pan African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. Started with Malcolm, now we carry the flame. Speak on it now, we dismantle the shame. Spiritual guy with ancestral aim. On his tongue, we steady uplift his name. Hidden colors on the screen, exposing the lies. Teaching black people divine, we truly gon' shine. He the chief in the culture, priest in the rites. Godfather of Harlem, bringing dark into the light. Yeah, he say, know your name, know your worth. The first builders, we the stewards of this earth. That's right. Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame. Dr. Smalls chasing truth, not the fame. Let's go. He say, know your name, know your worth. Know your worth. The first builders, we the stewards of the earth. That's right. Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame. Dr. Smalls chasing.
What's up with y'all out there, man? I appreciate y'all tuning in. I have my good friend on the line with me, Miss Tender, and she's got a thing that she wants to be able to bring to the table. I think this is a really interesting topic. I haven't really looked through her presentation much, but you can really never say enough about the differences between trying to communicate in vanilla versus having an understanding about, you guys being in a BDSM relationship. So I'm gonna let her take the floor, right? I'm not gonna let my experiences seep in. I'm gonna let the person who kind of guides me through this journey have the floor. So, how you doing, Tender?
I am doing good.
Good to hear. That's always good to hear.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tender. I am a BDSM mentor. I have a strange dynamic. I am a submissive, and I mentor DOMs. So it's a good angle because they can get the information from a sub about what a sub is thinking about in this whole thing and this dynamic.
That's unusual, isn't it?
I have some company tonight, so if you hear some whispering in the background, just ignore it.
Okay.
That's what I can do.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into the conversation. So hold on one second.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, so can you pull up those slides?
Yeah, I'm about to put them on the screen right now. There we go. Let's put it up there like this.
No, it looks like it got a little bit
Got a
I
little
don't know, in the
distorted in there.
digitation of it, it looks like it got thrown off a little bit.
It's all right.
But that's okay. That's okay.
We got.
We're gonna work with it.
I think that's the
So
only one.
this is called Painfully Honest, what we're about to talk about tonight. So I thought that was a cute play on words because of the play that we do with BDSM. And one of the most painful things we do in this dynamic is have a communication where we don't hide anything. And the reason that's painful is when you're coming from vanilla, you're so used to having, covering up everything. So, you go on your first date and you ask corny questions in vanilla, like, what's your favorite color? And, oh, well, so what do you do for work? And these kinds of questions and you try to be your best and put your best foot forward and try not to be boring and not overdo it. And this is your typical vanilla date, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in BDSM, we communicate very differently, very deeply, very quickly. We get to the point. And we do something called vetting. We don't do something called dating. Okay. So what we figure is we all know why we're here. We know we're looking for, either a playmate or we're looking for, a lifestyle. And so we get straight to the point on some of these questions. So if you are a BDSM person and you are out on a vanilla date, that might seem strange to somebody, right? Because our questions are more like, what does safety look like for you? Emotionally, physically, and mentally, and this is like question one, have you had any negative experiences? Do you have any triggering experiences? Are they related to kink? Like we go straight in. So
I'm trying
what
not
I
to
want to
laugh, but yeah.
Yes, this is what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. Because my favorite part about leaving vanilla and coming to BDSM is the communication. It's the clarity. And so I am so happy to be presenting this talk to you. So let's go to the next slide, and I'm going to play with you today. Me and you are going to have a conversation, my friend.
Okay. Let's do it.
And this is going to be my three scenarios. They're going to be little mini conversations we're going to have. And the first scenario is going to be about insecurity. And the second one's going to be an argument. And we'll save the real first date meet for last. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start. Next slide is going to be some explanation of what we're about to do. So let's pretend we're having a real conversation, and imagine you feel like you are not attractive enough for your partner. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say?
What would I say?
Yes.
Wow. I'm not sure. That's
you just
difficult.
wake up, you just look in the mirror, you're just feeling like, I don't feel it today. I know that's impossible, but just imagine.
I'm trying. I'm trying. What would I say? I think it might be more stuff that I do than say. You know what I'm saying? I guess some of those insecurities might might surface as like mistrust, right? Like I don't trust, who she's with or where she's at all the time. I guess I could see maybe it playing out like that, but that insecurity wouldn't necessarily be about attractiveness.
See, okay, so
Question for me.
a vanilla guy might say, "I just don't feel good right now. I don't feel good right now. I don't know." You know,
Mhm,
or like you said, it might come out in some behaviors. In
mhm,
BDSM, we speak directly, right? Because the vanilla approach avoids vulnerability and it relies on self-suppression, right? Which is both not healthy for either party, right? So in BDSM, we're going to be direct. We're going to not be afraid to be vulnerable because, okay, you are dominant. So you are not afraid of vulnerability. If you're afraid of vulnerability, then the vulnerability is dominant. Okay.
That's
So
well
we're
said. I like how you put that. That makes a lot of sense.
right. So we're not afraid of emotions. We're not afraid of vulnerability. Those are not things that we think are going to eat us up later because we're, a dom is in a dominant space, right?
Hmm.
And subs are not afraid of that because they know their dom is in a dominant space. So now we are solution focused. So what would we say in BDSM? What would a dom be saying to his sub? Hey, I need reassurance from you today. I don't feel desirable right now. I'd like you to support me. I need some comfort, babe.
It sounds familiar.
Can you give me a compliment? Tell me how you see me. Come on. I need your compliments. Tell me, you know. And then, you know, we don't hint or hope, or do the behavior craziness about our needs. And this is where you are showing this sub that you actually need her. Lots of subs need to be needed, right? And they
Hmm.
like to be told what you need. So if today is compliment day, then you say it, you know. So this would be very hard in vanilla because you gotta escape the trap of ego, which was a lie that people put on you, to move over into this kind of communication. And now I'm ready to go to the next part. And this gonna do not hint or hope our partner picks up on our needs. We state them clearly and seek resolution. Right.
Mm. This is a heavy slide right here.
Right. And we expect that from our partner too. So we're in vanilla that if you go to your guy and you're like, I just need da da da, and he's like, you keep whining,
Hmm.
But in BDSM, it's thank you for informing me about that. I'm going to consider that. Right. I
Right.
have a solution for that. It's
Hmm.
appreciation for using your words and things like that, and not pouting. And instead of pouting, telling your dom exactly what it is that's going on.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Let's stay here for a few more minutes because
let's
I
play
think
then.
I think that this I see the words all spaced out and I can tell the wheels are spinning when you put this together, and like just reading it is making me spin a lot because like there's such a huge contrast on I guess like what's socially acceptable, right? Like as you were saying, people can get used to kind of like tucking those things away, right? They don't want you to kind of to see that much of them, especially so early and sometimes. And that can be difficult, but the one thing that I found very refreshing about BDSM is like those are the things that you embrace up front, right?
Mhm.
You absolutely um are looking for somebody that if they require a lot of attention and they'll tell you, You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you I need that. You know that, and that'll be something, you know, right then and there that you have a decision to make whether you have enough time and energy to be able to give this person what they need. Because if you don't, then you're shorting both of you. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get the best version of them. You're not going to be your best. You're not going to be. And with that being said, you're not going to enjoy them the way that you could, and the relationship won't be as enjoyable as it could. And you know
Right.
that's a it seems small, but it's difficult. You know, sometimes it's difficult to ask yourself about some of those things because you're trying to avoid certain labels, right? Like clingy. Whereas, you know, like a person like me, I don't think clingy is so bad, right?
Right.
Depending on obviously how the behavior is with clingy. I don't think clingy is like a horrible thing, but I can see people kind of running from labels like that because of I don't know whatever they've experienced in the past, and that could make it difficult to initially be that open about your needs. That's if you've had an opportunity to even dig through yourself enough to identify what those needs are, right? Like that's why I said it was a really heavy slide, and I wanted to stay there for a quick second because there's a lot to unpack there, you know, for the person being the one telling them what your needs are, right? Like that's a journey all in itself to be able to go through maybe your last relationship or two to identify some things that you wish that you had gotten more of and wish that you weren't so silent about. Like those are definitely things that you should be able to be open with about your partner. And if they, you know, if they should be sensitive to your needs, right? Like that's the whole
Yes, because
idea.
if you tuck, there's a problem with tucking because people have to dig. You know, you're making somebody work way too hard to understand how to support you and love you when you are tucking, you know, and you're shocking people, right? You've got it tucked away, and then one day, you know, you come out the bag and they're like, wait a minute, I know you had this in here. If I would have known you had this in here, I probably wouldn't be playing this game, you
Right.
know? So these are the things that happen when we tuck. Now I'm going to try to present from my end. If you don't mind, I'm going to try to pull the slide up.
Okay.
So did the slides work?
Yeah, the slide.
I
I'm
don't
in
know
the slideshow. Yeah, I'm in
if
slideshow.
it's going to work, but because I see the slides kind of like digitizing a little bit. So I'm just wondering if I pull
Well,
them up on
on my side, they look perfectly fine.
I know. Okay, so because you see all those spaces in there.
Yes.
I don't really have those spaces in there in real life. Okay, so let's just go to the next one. Let's see what happens with these because these are important. But let's see what happens.
All right. Does this one look funny too?
You see how it's like
Yeah, I see the words getting
it's
a
off a
little
little bit. But okay, so let's just go. Okay, so this is going to be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pretend we're having an argument. And this argument is going to be about texting. Okay? So I'm going to start. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm so upset. I text you like 5 times and you did not text me back. I don't understand.
Been a long day. I'm working in the vaults. You know, it's usually kind of far away from society, and the reception typically isn't very good. So it's kind of difficult for me to just, you know, stop exactly what I'm doing and double check if I have text messages when I'm focused on getting things done at the moment.
Oh my God, so you're like focused on getting things done and you're completely going to forget about me? You're too focused to take 5 seconds to see what's going on?
Not at all. I just didn't get a chance to.
Okay, so in BDSM, the first thing we're going to do is acknowledge that we didn't respond. And we're going to acknowledge that that's making the person feel something, right? So a BDSM answer, that was a really great vanilla guy answer, right? Because you weren't being a jerk at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those kind of answers might not put out a flaming fuel that's going on in in somebody. But if you say, I acknowledge that he didn't respond, if you say, I see how that made you feel ignored, you see how now you're touching the fires. I didn't intend that, but I respect the impact, right? The impact matters more than the intent. So then you would finalize that with something like, how would you like me to handle this differently? Right? Because in BDSM, the communication focuses on personal responsibility, resolution, and accountability. And everything is important, right? Your job is very important. That you're out there in the middle of this, place is important. And then while you're saying all of that, it's like, I didn't have time to really look at the phone, But so now, without you knowing, you are making a list of priorities, and this partner you have is not on top, right? You just put everything on the top, and all these excuses and all this stuff like they didn't matter. And people hear you like that, even though you're being completely, what you think is sensible, right? But when you're talking in BDSM, our difference is we look at impact instead of intent. That's why we don't fight as much, right? If your guy in BDSM comes to you and says, oh my God, you keep being on the phone, and da 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 da, we're looking at the impact we're having. We're not looking at the intent. So when we answer him, we're not about to say, what is wrong with you? I could be on my phone, you on your phone. Like, we're not going there, because we're not trying to talk about the intent we have first. The first thing we do is look at the impact that it's having on the guy. So you can go to the next slide, because this is really important, because these are really good steps, right? I acknowledge. So, I know I didn't respond. That's just A, right? Who cares why? I know I didn't respond. I see how that made you feel ignored. See, you weren't ignoring the person, but you see how they feel ignored, right? So that validates the feeling and almost instantly makes them stop. Okay? Because if you've got to explain to somebody why you feel insecure, this is a messy conversation, right? If a person says to you, well, I don't see what your problem is. Not a big deal because blah, blah, blah. Now you got to explain why it's a big deal. And what this does is makes you reinforce some kind of egoic behavior later. Okay. You'll be upset, but you won't say you're upset, because you don't want them to feel like it's not a big deal and you're just this big crazy person. Right. So, but if they say, I get it why you're tripping. Right. And I didn't respond. And I see how that made you feel. And I respect that matters to you. Okay. How would you like me to handle this differently in the future? Because this is what's really happening. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. And now you're telling your intent, right? Now, after you've already addressed all the energy that's coming in. Now you can say, because how would you like me to handle it? Here are my challenges. I'm out here, babe. It's a challenge. And I'm working on this thing, and I get off here. And let me show you where the times I take this break and when I'm close enough where I have a range. Maybe we can make a plan. I can check in at a certain time. That way you're not looking for me at a time and then feeling like I'm ignoring you. Now you have a solution, right? You've already said you understand, and there's a solution. So this is how we communicate in BDSM, so that we don't have to go into the argument, right? We just take the whole, I need to show my intent first because you're bullying me. We take that all out, okay? So this is really important to learn, and this is the scenario explanation. BDSM communication focuses on personal responsibility, which would mean I acknowledge that I did not respond. And then it focuses on resolution. How would you like me to handle this differently in the future? Right? What can we do as a plan so that this doesn't happen to you again? Because the biggest trip is when you know you have an insecurity or you know you have a feeling that's uncomfortable and you're trying to explain it to somebody and they're trying to tell you why you have to feel it again. That's really how it's coming across when they're telling you their intent, right? You're, oh, well, it's not a big deal because of this, and you're going to probably feel this again. But in BDSM, we say, okay, no, we can't be having this again. So we're going to solve it now, right? So that's very important to take with us too. Okay, now scenario 3. This is the last time I'm going to pick on you. This is the last one. Ready? Okay. Establishing boundaries. Okay, so setting clear expectations for a first date. So if you're in, I guess I don't have to pick on you in this one, so you're off the hook.
It's all good.
If you're in a first date, what do you think would be your goals in a first date if you were on a date right now? What would be your main goals?
Well, one of the main things I'm thinking about is, how well we mesh. I get it realistically, how well we just mesh as people, right? Like, do we have similar interests, similar goals? I'm for me, I'm gonna hope that I've gotten with somebody who I feel like intimacy wise we have some compatibility, but my priority is, do I actually like enjoy this person's company? That, because that's going to be more, we're going to be spending more time doing that than we are doing anything else. So if I like their personality and it seems as though we have enough of those other things in common, then I would get into a little bit more of, how do they how do they like being appreciated, right? I'm gonna get into those type of questions.
So okay, so you can still hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, because my computer looks weird. Okay, so a lot of times in vanilla, we kind of just go with the flow, and there's nothing wrong with that. We usually use our heart and our, try to gauge the energy and sort of just go with the flow on things because we don't want to put no pressure on nothing and come off wrong. But this approach lacks clarity. Okay. And it also can lead to like a misalignment. It doesn't cover the expectations inside of things. And I think, okay, now I got it back so I can see my own slides. Okay. So in BDSM, it's going to be more like, you're setting you're looking for what these expectations might be. And no, you're not rolling them all out at once. Of course, you can have a drink and have some lightweight conversation while you're sliding in these vetting questions. But before we even go on the date, okay, we have talked about what the expectations of the date are. What are you hoping for from this date? What are you looking for
Are
in this date?
you asking me as far as like the scenario?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying we ask each other, we're going to go on a date. Okay. What are you looking for in this date? What are you hoping that's going to happen? And we do that before we go.
Yeah. So honestly, I want to have those clear expectations. I want to have that mapped out long before we've picked out a location to meet at.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking, right? So by the time we get to the date, like some of those tensions have eased, and now now I get to just enjoy, watching body language and trying just learning the person at that point. You know, I kind of
Right.
want to get a lot of that stuff out of the way so we can have context to talk about it on the date, but all of that stuff pretty much been somewhat touched upon, and now we're kind of getting into details at that point, right? So as far as the expectations on the date, I'm expecting it to go well, because I feel like by the time that I've chosen to like take you out on a date, I feel like that things are going well enough. And for me, that I feel like, man, I feel like this sounds crazy, but I feel like I would much rather not get to that step before I get all of those things, than to be there and still be kind of wondering about some of those things, because because some of those boxes aren't checked off, it could be a complete waste of time anyway. We could just be having a conversation face to face, and the whole time we have no real compatibility, outside of this particular conversation. You know what I'm saying? That's so for me, I want to have those expectations nailed down before we meet up, personally.
Yeah. But if you're gonna take a sub or a dom out on a date, then you're gonna look for some deeper questions. You're gonna find out how they define power exchange, right? What that looks like in the dynamic. You're gonna find out, what their current relationship structures are, what their boundaries are, and what you should be aware of. What forms of communication you need before, during, and after a scene, and what hard limits, soft limits. So there are things that we talk about in BDSM on a first date that a vanilla person would never dream of, because we want to understand who this person is, and if we can keep them safe and have this fun, with them. So first dates are a little bit different in vanilla, and the communication is in BDSM, the communication is different in all these scenarios. And maybe one day we can, expound on one of these scenarios, like how to handle arguments or something, and we can have some questions. But this is a really good place to start, looking at how you're handling the other person's emotional safety while you're talking to them, right? Because if you don't allow emotions, then you're going to have a really crappy, connection where everybody's trying to protect themselves, and there's not enough trust there. Okay, I'm ready for the next one.
Ready for the next one? And you know what else I'm noticing? I'm noticing through you doing this, like, as comfortable and confident as I am about it in real life, if for whatever reason I'm a bit apprehensive about opening up exactly like how that works for me. And I want to be kind of vague and not necessarily so specific, for whatever reason online. I don't know. I think I need to work on that. I think I might just need to have a day and come on here and just be me and just see how it goes. But so far, that's definitely been something that I'm like, I don't know if I want them to know all that, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of privacy involved, and so that's okay. And I think what I want us to get out of scenario 3 is that BDSM communication prioritizes explicit expectations and consent, and we avoid mixed signals altogether. That's just, a period for us. We don't do the mixed signals. And a lot of times we take a very long time before we are intimate. I know that when I was trapped in the vanilla world, it wasn't all the time that time was taken before intimacy was there. And a lot of young men, a lot of young ladies mistake sexuality for love. And the thing gets rolling, and it gets faster and faster and faster. And then it's flipped because you start getting to know each other after you have this physical connection. And that can be very damaging for a lot of people. And it can continually be damaging, relationship after relationship. So that's why we press to learn the communication skills of BDSM if you're going to go into that life, so that you're not, still bringing some of those habits into your BDSM life from the vanilla world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is going to be a fun part that I set up for you, because I knew I was like going to be in and out with this one, but I put some more slides on here.
It's okay.
For fun.
It's okay. That's totally fine. We're 30 minutes through. You mind if we take like a little quick commercial break and then we can get right back into it?
Okay.
Quanboy EP by DQ Hampton. From Waco to the world, Quanboy EP is the raw, unapologetic soundtrack of a country boy turned city king. DQ Hampton blends southern grit with East Coast wit, delivering a project that reflects his hustle, his risks, and his relentless ambition. This EP isn't just music, it's a statement. With hard-hitting beats, intricate wordplay, and a vibe that moves from smoked-out introspection to high-energy motivation. Quanboy EP takes you on a journey through DQ's life, where every bar is a lesson and every hook is a moment. From the deep bass lines that shake the block to smooth melodic storytelling, this project showcases why DQ Hampton is a force in the game. No gimmicks, just real music for real ones. Whether you're chasing paper, zoning out, or grinding in silence, Quanboy EP is here to set the tone. Welcome to the next chapter. Welcome to Quanboy.
Let's go, baby. DQ, baby.
Voice from the past.
Social love, Dr. James Smart, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
One of our great leaders, great teachers. Check. Look, he's a voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, stay connecting the roots. And African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. He's the voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, we stay connecting the roots. Paying African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. Started with Malcolm, now we carry the flame. Speak on it now, we dismantle the shame. Spiritual guy with ancestral aim. Ifa on his tongue, we steady uplift his name. Hidden colors on the screen, exposing the lies. Teaching black people divine, we truly gon' shine. He the chief in the culture, priest in the rites. Godfather of Harlem, bringing dark into the light. Yeah, he say, know your name, know your worth. The first builders, we the stewards of this earth. Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame. Dr. Smalls chasing truth, not the fame. Let's go. He say, know your name, know your worth. The first builders, we the stewards of the earth.
that's right.
Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame. Dr. Smalls chasing truth, not the fame.
When a nigga had a brand new Cadillac and a whole bunch of hoes in it, he was smooth as ice. Smooth as ice. It was smooth as silk, baby. He was good. Yeah. I said we put it up, put it down. He gotta go down, he rise up. He moved from time to time, place to place, city to city. Nigga got around. Nigga got around. Oh yeah. I go to New York, he his name. Yeah. I go to Cleveland, he his name. Chicago, I put his name down. They know it.
Chill with the babbling, nigga known for the traveling. Like I can't dribble, I'm hitting hoes with the javelin. Put it in the middle, I'm steady roaming like Vatican. Syllabus and cannabis pimping, I'm now establishing. Wolf out the pack, I'm catching stallions straggling. Pussy dead stock, I'm ripping hoes out the packaging. Points that I'm averaging, think Kyrie is passing them the ball. Watch me ball on niggas, it's so spectacular. They ill advised. Stepping in no shit because I'm hella wise. Serving up this pimpin' like some curly fries. A Gus chicken gripping on some girly thighs. Fried like some pickles when I'm swinging glides. Having conversations, entertaining vibes. I peep on body language and she peeping mine. I ask if she hungry, she say what's her rhyme. I crack a smile and give her ass some curly fries. Said it's such a spectacular feeling. Real rap, no cap, I'll be macking these women. Shiesty down, condom on, I'm attacking that kid. Rent paid, stomach full, spectacular living. Ha, say my closet is hated by Peter. The fox fur got them hotter than plated fajitas. Parallel when I'm parking, they paying the meter. My 2 cents that I give belong to museum.
When a nigga had a brand new Cadillac.
Shout out to my brother DQ out there, man. He just dropped his album. Y'all saw the commercial for it. Go out there and pick it up, man. should have a link for it. Dang. I'm gonna definitely have to make sure I got that on deck next show because I don't know where to go grab it from right quick. But go ahead, y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging in there. We're back from the commercial break. We got Tender. We're talking about communications, the differences between vanilla and BDSM communication, and I think this is important. Definitely something that doesn't just immediately strike you as obvious. And it takes a little soul searching to even do it correctly because if you're not communicating from the heart, and that can be a scary place for some people. I'll admit to you, I feel like the first time I dug really deep, it was a little scary. It was definitely um eye opening, right? It was a realization to have to almost look at myself that close in the mirror. It was a little bit uncomfortable at first, but then I got used to it, right? And I got used to me, right? It was almost like I was running from myself. But it took that, like it took that realization, and it took more practice to break down some more barriers, more walls, and before you know it, you expect it from other people. Before you know it, you almost realize that I might be a little bit healthier than most people, right? When it comes to looking at myself, I might be able to deal with myself and even some of the faults that I run across as I continue to learn myself than most people. And I think that this journey definitely prepared me to do that, right? It prepared me to look at myself in the mirror. And like we're talking about with some of these communication things, accountability is huge, right? I don't think I can really say enough about it, but I think if I leave it right there for now, because I think everybody kind of gets what I'm saying. But how are you doing, Tinder? Are you back?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. And I totally agree with you. I know that it is a real stretch to turn the corner when it comes to BDSM. I know it's a stretch on both ends, whether your traits are submissive or your traits are dominant. And one of the hardest parts is ego issues, insecurities, and how we were forced to cover those in vanilla. And coming over to BDSM, we need to inform, right? So that we can be supported. And so that, if we're dominating someone, we can know how they need us. And if we are the submissive for someone, we need to know how we are supposed to be supporting their challenges. And so this is more of a relationship where you are informing each other, out at the beginning about what you need from each other. And we even play with these, things. If you are a sub and you have some body image issues, maybe your dom is playing with that. Maybe he's giving you rules based upon that so that you can break that, right?
Mhm.
That terrible self-talk or bad behavior, so some of our rules, some of our scenes, some of our playtime is based around making us healthier. So everybody's informed, hey, this is a problem. Daddy does not like it when I look at men. I have to do this and do that and do this. And we're informed before we go out. So we look like a well-tuned machine, right? When we're
Mhm.
out, as versus two vanilla people all of a sudden having a fight in the middle of the club. So this is this is not something we tend to do because we've covered all the things that they think are crazy, but they have it too, but they won't talk about it. We've
Mhm.
talked about it and we've done it before we've come out here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a little fun, and you can go to the next slide. I have these 10 little fun facts. I think maybe I did 10. I don't know. Five. I did five. I cheated. Okay, 5 key ways to support emotional wellness and avoid fights. Okay,
Okay.
these are my little fun facts that I decided to pin to the end of my little thing. This girl just punching this man out,
Watching the
because
heck out of them.
sometimes. Okay, so let's go to 1. Okay. Prioritize active listening and validation. So this is to the dom. Now, the submissive thrives on feeling heard, understood, and valued. A dominant needs to know their guidance is respected and followed. Okay, so that's the sub. So you got 2 different dynamics here. Submissives thrive on feeling heard, understood, and valued, right? So that's why we start by we address the impact of that we've had on them first, right? And when something goes wrong, not the intention. And then we make them know that what they're going through is something that is valid. We can understand how they could have come there. Not, oh, you crazy lady, like like no, we can get it. We get it how you came here. Okay. And then we go for the solutions or the playtime or the new rules or whatever that's gonna avoid them feeling this again. And then a dominant needs to know their guidance is respected and followed because their position in the relationship is guidance. Okay. And so if a sub trusts you, she will follow your guidance because it's always geared toward making a more healthy situation. So use reflective listening and repeating back key points to show you're listening. Right. So sometimes we can't do this right away. We've already trained ourselves into the chaos that is vanilla. So how do we do it? Well, you're the dom, so you're training yourself first. You are dominating you before you try to dominate anybody else. All right. So that you can maintain respect when you go into dominating people. So one of the ways to train yourself to be a better listener is to repeat things back before you move on to what you're going to say. So the person speaks, blah, 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 you didn't call me, you didn't call me back. Okay. So, okay, I hear you saying I didn't call you back. I hear you telling me you feel ignored. I understand where we are with this. Okay. And so now we need to look at how we can make sure this doesn't happen to you because, oh, I didn't want you to feel like that. I don't want you to feel that way. Okay. And now if you want to tell what your intentions were, you can, because you've already covered what's going on and you're providing a solution so that you're coming back to safety. And also for submissives, if you don't trust a dom, so then don't be his submissive. Just do not. Wait until you have gained some trust with him to do that, because doms need to know that their guidance is respected and you can follow what it is they're asking you to do. Okay. And if you've both done the vetting and they know you well and they understand where all the triggers are and what you need, then you shouldn't have a problem trusting that. So this is all about prioritize active listening. When your dom is talking, listen to what he's saying. And if you don't understand, ask him to express what he means. And he should be able to do that if he has dominated himself. And so those things should be really easy to do for each other. Okay, now this is going to be number 2, and it's going to be good. Ready? Oh, wait, I gave you an example. I forgot I gave examples. But anyway, maintain clear, honest, and direct communication. Why it matters. BDSM thrives on clarity, consent, and expectation management. Emotional wellness suffers when one partner hides their feelings. So you got to be upfront about needs and expectations. And since I did examples, let's go to it and see what example I did, because I don't even remember. Okay. Example, instead of you should know what I need, you can try I need more. You should know that. You can try I need more reassurance from you right now. Instead of you always messing this up, you could try this wasn't how I wanted it. Let's go over it again. Okay. Example, the Dom could say, tell me exactly what you need from me right now. A sub could say, I need a reminder that you're still proud of me. These are much nicer, much calmer conversations than coming for somebody, right? So we want to stop coming for somebody. Okay, next. Create a safe space for vulnerability. Why this matters? Because you guys have to trust each other. Subs have to feel like they are safe. A lot of DOMs fail in this department through lots and lots of subs because they don't understand this is their main thing. If somebody's going to submit to you, they have to feel like that's safe to do. And if they don't feel like you know what you're doing with you, they're probably not about to let you be telling them what to do with them. Submissive does not mean dingbat. Okay, so a lot of submissives hold very high office where they work. They are, top earners. They are very educated. They want to give up power somewhere, so they give up power when they see their man. They want to serve somebody in this way. And so they're not stupid. They're just aware that they would rather be in a submissive position. And a dominant also needs emotional space to admit, challenges and concerns. So sometimes a dom needs a minute. And so subs need to understand that. Sometimes your dom needs a minute. Not that he's not going to talk to you. It's because if he's dominated the communication space, he's going to be able to say, I need a minute. But you need to be not fearful in giving him that, so that he can figure out the challenge and the concern and maybe even some solutions to be able to come to this conversation with you. Yes, you're going to be part of the conversation. Yes, you can say some of your solutions, but he might need him a minute. Okay. Now, this one took me a long time to understand. Okay. Because I'm like, no, we're going to fix this right now. Right now. Big brat mode. Okay. So, if you're not naturally a brat and you're not with a dom that is into brat mode might not be such a good idea. So here's your example. No, go back to it. Go back to those examples. Why are you acting so needy? Instead of that, try, I want to hear what's on your mind. Right? A submissive can say, I feel guilty for needing extra reassurance. A dominant can say, you never need to feel guilty for communicating with me. Right? So these are good examples. Okay, next. Now, 3, use reassurance and affirmation to build confidence. Sub craves validation for their efforts and a place in the relationship. And a dominant needs to be reminded of their partner's trust and devotion. So in conversations, you can do like praising the efforts. Don't just look at the little things and keep moving. Say thank you. Say I'm proud of you. Say that's so great, babe. Give some praise. Express appreciation regularly. Okay. And use reinforcement phrases to boost confidence. If you're a dom, this is really good. If you have a very insecure sub, you can use some phrases to boost confidence and consistently, and you can give her some rules. Okay, moving next. So 5. Okay. Okay, you want to do examples? Okay, example of this is I assume I appreciate you. You should know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You already know I appreciate you. I pay the rent. I pay the light. I pay the. Don't do that. Okay. Instead, say, I love the way you trust me. That means everything to me. Instead of good job, I pay the rent. I pay the light. Then what we say back, good job. Wonderful. Like, no. We use good girl, good boy. We use I'm proud of you. We use all these little techniques that make somebody feel like we're sincere. Your insincere communication has to die when you're in BDSM. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So all the sarcasm is stop. Okay, going to the next one, the last one. Resolve conflict with respect and accountability. Okay. And this goes right back into what we're just saying. Sarcasm, bad attitude, all these different ways we talk to each other, the tones in which we use can be cruel, and they only serve to build more discomfort, more chaos, more distrust. So BDSM relationships require high levels of trust. Unresolved conflict damages that. Don't leave it under the rug. Don't sweep. You leave it under the rug, guess what? It all comes pouring out later. Okay, there should be a time every day where you're talking. And you want emotional wellness. You want it to thrive. You want both partners taking responsibility. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then acknowledge your mistakes. Don't deflect and focus on solutions. Don't blame. Okay. Oh, this is all your fault because you just don't listen. No, don't blame. Don't blame. Just let's find a solution so this can stop happening. So those are my 5, and I think I have a little one more there that talks about some examples for conflict resolution. And that's the next one. Okay, so I didn't do it. So you guys really should look that up. I'm sad I didn't do any of the conflict resolution ones. You can find my slides for my, I'm going to be writing a series called Painfully Honest. And so that's why I'm so glad to come on here with you tonight to be able to announce that. You're going to be able to find it at tindermiami.card.co. And I'm going to put up the slides, and then I'm going to write the blogs, and they're going to actually be downloadable. They're going to be like Google links right there on that website. And that's going to be coming up next week, where all the slides and all the notes and some of the blogs are going to be posted. Honesty creates better relationships. Fear creates bad habits. Don't be scared to open up because you might get hurt. Because, this is BDSM and we're into pain.
That's an interesting way to close it. That's an interesting way to close it. I completely understand. No, I know there was a lot of details that you could go into about a lot of those topics, and we tried to keep it time friendly, but I think this is good, right? Because you almost can't say enough about good communication, right? Like it's going to get you through a lot of those issues better than a lot of things will, right? Money doesn't solve all problems. Bad communication can definitely make a bad relationship. So I really appreciate it. It's hopefully, there were some people out there listening that were able to get something out of it too, because I definitely did, for sure, as I always do. So.
Oh, I'm so glad. And, I really always enjoy coming on and spending time with you guys, and especially you. And I hope I get to come back soon and we can talk about something else. I have something cooking. Other than that Painfully Honest series, but I'll talk to you about that next time.
Okay, because I got quite a few things kind of working right now, so probably it probably be 2 weeks or so. So it'll be, we should have enough time to be able to really plan something really good so I can advertise it well this time. It doesn't have to feel so last minute like this one, but I definitely want to do it the way I know looks better production wise. And so we'll get together and we'll make sure we do that, right? So it's always good information, but some of this is definitely my fault. So I want to do a better job on it next time, and we'll have more time to do that. So
okay, I look so much forward to it, and you guys have a beautiful evening and don't hurt nobody.
I appreciate y'all coming through, man. Enjoy y'all's weekend out here. I'm gonna let some of these advertisements roll. We got a huge show coming up for y'all next Saturday. Dr. James Small, Professor James Small, the well-renowned elder in the Black nationalist Pan-African community, is coming on my show, and I'm going to have the honor and pleasure to sit down and have a conversation and kind of pick his brain on a few things, ask him some questions, you know, some of those political questions that I feel like I've been dying to ask people since I got into, like, you know, Black empowerment. And, you know, it's honestly, it's like, it's an honor to get to do it with him in person. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I know that's going to be a really, really big show. So I appreciate you guys coming through, man. Drop the like button on y'all's way out, but enjoy y'all's weekend out there, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Let's go, baby. DQ, baby.
Voice from the past.
Social love for Dr. James Smiles, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
One of our great leaders, great teachers. Check. Look, he's a voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, stay connecting the roots. Pan-African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. He's the voice from the past, teaching to the youth. Dr. James Small got the knowledge and the proof. From Harlem to Ghana, we stay connecting the roots. Pan-African pride, yeah, we standing on the truth. Started with Malcolm, now we carry the flame. Speak on it now, we dismantle the shame. Spiritual guy with ancestral aim. Even on his tongue, we steady uplift his name. Hidden colors on the screen, exposing the lies. Teaching black people divine, we truly gon' shine. He the chief in the culture, priest in the rights. Godfather of Harlem, bringing dark into the light. Yeah, he say, know your name, know your worth. The first builders, we the stewards of this earth.
That's right.
Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame. Dr. Smiles chasing truth, not the fame.
Let's go.
He say, know your name, know your worth.
Know your worth.
The first builders, we the stewards of the earth.
That's right.
Wisdom in his tone, every letter's flame.
Every flame.
Dr. Smiles chasing truth, not the fame.
Yeah.